The building you are looking at is owned by Mr. Doug Hartman. Mr. Hartman is formerly of Campus Crusade for Christ, and when his tenure there was over, he was looking for a business where he could use the same principles that he had taught with Crusade, and he found this company. The CEO of our company, some 40 plus years ago, had no interest in coming to California. The company had come as far west as Texas, but the CEO also trusted Mr. Hartman because he knew several people who knew Doug Hartman's integrity. So he said, all right, give it a shot. And Doug Hartman pioneered our company in the state of California back in the 1970s. We're going to usher you into the training room, and we're going to show you a little bit about our company. I'm excited to be one of the regional vice presidents who has an office in this building, and we're going to be now taking you into the training room where I plan to talk to you a bit. My name is David Wolf. I'm a regional vice president with Primerica. We're honored to have you joining us via this broadcast, and let's go straight on. Primerica is what really introduced me to freedom. There are a lot of people. In the Los Angeles area who have freedom of time. You can just go downtown in LA. You find lots of people who have all the time in the world, but they don't have the financial resources to be able to live with much dignity. Then you have a lot of people who have plenty of financial resources, but they don't have time because their jobs own them. Here in Primerica, you have an opportunity to have both. People get involved with our company for one of several reasons. We've outlined 5 of them here. One is that people don't like their current job. You hear about people complaining all the time on their bus ride home. Complaining about their job. They don't like their boss, they don't like the people that they work with. Some people love what they do, but another $500 or $1,000 a month could change their lives. It would make their car payment. Some people just come for the financial education because Primerica does things differently from most companies. We're not looking for people with all sorts of sales experience. If people have sales experience, we're willing to bring them aboard and make sure that they're not the kind of person that goes for the jugular vein and knows all these closing techniques. We're looking for people who want to learn and to help other people learn so that the American middle class can make financial decisions based on knowledge. And then some people just love helping other people. They don't care about making money. They don't care about a new business. They just want to change people's lives. I've changed a lot of lives in the last 35 years that I've been here, and you have an opportunity to do that as well. And then finally, there are those people that said, you know, I've always dreamt of having my own business, running my own show. I'd like to be my own boss so I don't have to worry about pink slipping myself. I'd like to be able to have a business that doesn't have any cap to its earnings, and I can show up when I want, I can show up where I want. And Primerica gives you the opportunity to do each of those. Now there are 4 legal ways of making money in the United States. First one is as an employee. An employee has a job. Typically, the employer does not pay the employee, they pay their position. And so if you're working twice as hard as the guy in the cubicle next to you, but you have the same position, then you're going to get paid the same money no matter how hard you work. Now, one step beyond that in the working chain is a person who doesn't have a job. The person owns their own job. This person is a dentist, an attorney, a doctor, a real estate agent, a hairdresser. These people own their own job. The only difficulty with that is if a dentist goes away on vacation, then if he's not drilling your teeth, he's not billing your wallet. And so they don't have an opportunity to have checks lying on the desk when they get back. Now, on the right-hand side, we have a business owner. This person doesn't have a job. This person doesn't own a job. This person owns a system. The individual runs the system. The system is done by, can be by teenagers. For example, think about McDonald's. I have never been in a McDonald's when I actually met the owner of the McDonald's. Now, a few people that I've met have, but not many. The reason is because the owner doesn't eat at McDonald's. The owner is in Fiji, and it's very difficult to meet the owner. Why? Because the owner owns the system. The system is run, in McDonald's case, by kids, by young people. And it's a duplicatable system, which allows them to be able to do that. The managers go to Hamburger University, which I think there are a couple of them in the United States now, and they find out how to, when to take the French fries out of the oil, how to flip the burgers and all of that. And now it's more complicated. They have more stuff. But that essentially is the system that is run by young people. And so this business owner doesn't have to show up, because if he or she decides to go back to their desk, there is money on the desk when they get back. Now, the last of the four boxes is the investor. The investor doesn't have a job. The investor doesn't own a job. The investor doesn't own a system. The investor owns a ton of money, and the money is doing all the work for him or her. And he or she can stay in Fiji, and there doesn't have to be any money on the desk because it's automatically going into their account. Now, let me ask you this. Doesn't do you any good to answer out loud because I can't hear you. But would you rather be on the left side of this equation or on the right side? Most people say, well, it'd be better to be on the right-hand side, either a business owner or an investor. Now, Primerica's job is to take people through the boxes. Generally speaking, the people that we talk to, most of them are employees. 90% of them are employees. They work for somebody else. They're making somebody else's dreams come true. But if a person becomes a client of Primerica, then in 30 to 35 years that they're in the workforce, we can take them through those boxes until they have plenty of money at the time that they retire, and they can retire with dignity. On the other hand, if you want to go through the boxes a bit faster, in 8 to 10 years, we can take a person, and if they get involved with our company, they become a new associate with our company, we can train them. We can pay for their licenses. And we bring them aboard. We teach them how to train other people, much like a real estate broker trains their agents. And then they make money whenever they or their agents do any business. And that's how it works. So we can take an associate through those boxes in much less time. Now, we live in a different age. My dad used to work for a big company here in Southern California. And he was loyal to that company, worked there about 40 years. And at the end of that time, they patted him on his little bald head, and they gave him a gold watch, and they said, "Thank you for your service, Ed." And he didn't have anything to live on because he didn't know the financial education that he needed to know in order to be able to retire with dignity. So he went to work at Kmart selling paint as a senior citizen. It broke my heart. And I decided that's not going to ever be me. And it has never been. So we live in a world now where people are starting to think maybe that 40 years at one workplace doesn't work so well. Maybe having a part-time gig would be better, and I can turn that into a full-time career and become a real disruptor. A massive wave of new entrepreneurs is coming through the United States. If you want to be wealthy, you stand between those entrepreneurial thinking people and their opportunity and say, I can take you there. That's what we're about. Now, Primerica has a mission statement. We help people get properly protected. We do that with automobile insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance. We help people to start saving money and investing money for the future. People need three kinds of accounts to be able to do that. They need a short-term account, a middle-term account. They need a long-term account for retirement. And so we teach them how to do all three of those things. Finally, not finally, but thirdly, people have to learn how to become debt-free. The reason there's so much debt in the United States is because people don't know how to become debt-free. One of the men who started working with one of our regional vice presidents back in Tennessee, a fellow by the name of Dave Ramsey, who believes the same principles that we teach. He teaches debt stacking. So do we. I think he calls it debt snowballing, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how you get out of debt. Now, most people don't know how to do that. So what do? We offer people financial planning product that helps them to do that and shows them exactly what debts to pay off at what time so that it cuts their time to a minimum. One of the clients that I saw a number of years ago, we ran that financial planning device for them, and it showed that John and Mary were going to be out of debt in 256 years. I said, you know what, John? You might want to move that along a little bit. We're all going to be out of debt in 256 years. And he said, well, how can I do that? And we showed them through that plan how they can do debt snowballing or debt stacking and be out of debt in 11 years, including their home, with no extra money coming out of their pocket. Now, do you think John likes us? John loves us. Finally, we show people how to earn additional income, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here talking to you today. Primerica pays me nothing. Primerica is a broker that introduces us to the top companies in the financial world. You've heard of Quicken Loans, #1 in the mortgage industry. You've heard of Legg Mason, Invesco, American Funds, Franklin Templeton. You may have heard of Safeco, Mercury, The General. We represent all of those companies, so Primerica connects us with a couple of dozen companies, and then those companies pay us very well. Now, here's another way to get wealthy. You probably have noticed that my hair is no longer brown. My hair is silver. I'm a member of what's called the baby boomer generation. And the baby boomer generation, let's see, is there a delicate way to say this? We're dying off. And what's happening is that there is a $68 trillion wave of money that's going to pass from my generation to the next generation as we go to be with the Lord. Now, one way to get wealthy, if you again stand between these baby boomers and where the money is headed, you can show these people how to invest, how to get higher returns, and one of those companies will pay you a lot of money to do that. As I said, we don't teach people sales techniques. We teach people how money works through what's called the theory of decreasing responsibility, through what is called the rule of 72. I'm going to be showing you that in a moment. The power of compound interest. You know, Albert Einstein was once asked, Professor, what do you consider the most powerful force in the universe? You know what he said? He said compound interest. He understood that the interest on your interest is more powerful than the interest on your principal. We teach that. The high cost of waiting. If people want to start a retirement account but they wait 1 year, they have to save significantly more money. So it's important to get started as soon as people get the knowledge. Pay yourself first. debt stacking, which I've already talked to you about, buy term and invest the difference, which I will talk to you a little bit about. But let's take a look at the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is a simple mathematical formula. If you take the magic number 72 and you divide it by the rate of return that you earn, whether 3%, 6%, 12%, or what they get now in the banks, which is even less than 3%, you divide that into the number 72, the answer comes out very close to how many years it takes you to double your money. So let's say that you put your money in a savings account. You've got $10,000, and at 3%, 72 divided by 3 is 24. So in 24 years, that money doubles to 20,000. Isn't that exciting? In another 24 years, the money doubles to 40,000. Now, the place where you put that money, whether it's a bank or some kind of a savings institution or whatever it is, do you think they know how to get higher rates of return? The answer is yes. So suppose they get a 12% return on that same $10,000. 12% divided into 72 is 6. So the money doubles every 6 years. So in 48 years, it'll double 8 times. And it ends up at $2.5 million. So they get $2.5 million. They pay you $40,000. You know what $2.5 million minus $40,000 is? It's still $2.5 million. They're going to keep all that money, and you're the one that doesn't get to retire in dignity. Education can solve the financial problems of America. Now, we're looking for people who would like to right a wrong. This was one of the things that really attracted me to Primerica. So I'm going to give you a little pop quiz. Let's say you wanted to go buy a refrigerator. I used to say you'd buy the refrigerator at Sears. We now know you can't do that. But you could go to Lowe's, you could go to Best Buy. So here comes a salesman and they say, okay, now here's the refrigerator of your dreams, but there are 2 possible payment plans. You pick the plan that you like the better. Now, payment plan A. You pay $1,000, the refrigerator is yours, but it has a very unusual guarantee. That guarantee is for 36 years, not months. 36 years. So the $1,000 that you paid, you get your refrigerator, it's guaranteed for 36 years, but at the end of the 36 years, this thing goes poof, it falls to the ground, and now you have to go get another refrigerator. Now, you can buy the same exact refrigerator if you're willing to spend $2,000 instead. You still get the same 36-year guarantee, but now, at the end of the 36 years, they're going to give you double your money back. So you'll receive $4,000, and it's as if you had a free refrigerator with a profit. Now, which of those 2 deals do you think you would probably pick? Is that enough time to think? Now I have a doctorate in mathematics, so I picked the one with the bigger number. I picked refrigerator B. But it was because of a lack of education that I did that. Let me show you what I mean. If I had picked refrigerator A, it costs only $1,000. It's worthless at the end of the 36 years. But since it only cost $1,000, I could take the other $1,000. I could invest it. If somebody teaches me how to use 12%, then 72 divided by 12 is 6. The money doubles every 6 years. So in 36 years, it's going to double 6 times. So if you take $1,000 and you double it 6 times, $2,000, $4,000, $8,000, $16,000, $32,000, $64,000. Now, who's going to get the $64,000 if I don't do the investing? Well, if you buy your refrigerator from Best Buy, they know how to get 12%, so they get the $64,000. You come back and say, hey, dame los 4,000, give me my $4,000, please. And they'll say, no problem, we get to keep the other $60,000. But if you buy the less expensive one, then you invest the other $1,000 and you get to keep the refrigerator and the $64,000. Now, we don't sell refrigerators. We sell money. So let's look for a bank. Here are two banks. Last question in your pop quiz. And by the way, in 35 years of giving this example, I have never had anybody miss this part. And now the pressure's not on. That's okay. You're not going to miss it either. Suppose there are two banks. You want to save money. In this bank, they pay you interest the first day you walk in the door. Next door, there's a funny bank. They not only don't pay you interest from the very beginning, but all the money that you put in for the first 2 years and sometimes more, they keep that money, you lose that money, the balance in your savings account 2 years later is zero. Now think real hard, would you like to earn interest from the first day, or would you like to have zero after 2 years? Not a difficult decision. I'll bet you picked the right refrigerator. But the picture gets worse. How much return can you earn in a real bank? Right now when I'm speaking this, not much. I remember at one time though, my mom was earning 16% in a bank CD. Over the long haul, you're likely to average maybe 3 or 4% in a regular bank. But not in the funny bank. In the funny bank, what's your rate of return the first 2 years? Well, they take your money out and keep it, so your rate of return is negative 100% rate of return. They kept your principal. But if you keep putting more money in there for up to 20 years, average rate of return nationwide is about 1.3%. Isn't that exciting? Well, picture gets worse. In a regular bank, how do you take your money out of the bank? The answer is you go waltzing up to an ATM machine in the middle of the night and you can take the money anytime you want. It's your money. Or you can go into the bank and fill out a little withdrawal slip and take your money. It's yours. There are no ATMs in the funny bank. There's no withdrawal slips. If you want to get your own money in this bank, listen carefully, you have to borrow your own money. And you have to pay them 4 to 5 times the interest rate they've been paying you. Now, isn't that exciting? Doesn't that make you just want to sign up with that account? The last feature was the one that infuriated me when I first heard this story back in 1984. And it is, suppose that you have your money in an account like this. I had 2 of them. Actually, I had 2 of them in an account like that. But if you have money in a bank and you die, then your family gets to keep that money. That's how it works. Transfer on death, it's called. But if you, as I did, have your money in an account like this, and you are so inconsiderate as to die, they keep every penny of the savings. It's as if you never had a savings and your family just loses it. Now, do you think anybody would keep their money in an account like this? And you already know that I had 2 of them. Why? How did I end up with my money in an account where I could find it in writing, in the contract, that I lose all the money for the first 2 years, never earn 2% rate of return, borrow my own money to take it out, and lose it all when I die? Why would I put my money in an account like that? 2 simple reasons. Number 1, I signed the contract without reading it. And number 2, the agent, now I'm sure the agent was going to explain those 4 features to me, but he got so excited at the point of sale, he forgot. And I never knew those features were in it. But they were in writing in the contract. That infuriated me over 35 years ago. And guess what? I'm still infuriated. I see it happening to my friends. I see it happening to my friends' friends. And I'm looking for people who care about a crusade. They want to do something. They want to do something right for people. Now, here are some of the specifics of the difference between right and wrong. Let's go back to John and Mary, who had $100,000 in life insurance coverage for each one of them. So if John died, Mary would get $100,000. If Mary died, John would get $100,000. It was a cash value policy. And so inside the policy, it said at age 65, they would have an estimated $76,000 in cash values. That plan cost $225 a month. Okay, got those figures in your mind? We came in and we did the financial needs analysis. That's that financial planning device that I told you about. And we did that. Guess how much it cost? It was free. We do that free of charge for everybody. We'll do that free of charge for you if you like. In fact, we'll let you run your own once you get licensed. So we did the financial needs analysis for them, and we changed their life insurance picture a bit. Instead of $100,000 on John and $100,000 on Mary, we put $250,000 on John, $250,000 on Mary. And by the way, we did that for $80 a month instead of $225 a month. How could we do that? And the answer is the theory of decreasing responsibility, which is one of those things that I showed you earlier we teach people. But even more, that left $145 just sitting around that they were spending before and they're not spending now. So what could they do with that extra $145? And the answer is they could invest it. Now, what did their picture look like before the financial needs analysis? John and Mary had also $20,000 in an individual retirement account at their bank, earning 1.5% with $105 a month that they were putting in. And the accumulated savings by retirement time for them would be in about $79,000. So the sum of these two would be $160,000 plus or minus, actually minus. We did the financial needs analysis for them, set up a retirement plan. We rolled over the $20,000 that they had in their IRA. We put it into a mutual fund IRA. It didn't cost them anything in taxes because it was a like account to a like account. Their monthly contributions increased to $250. Wait, I thought you said you were going to take new money out of their pocket. We didn't. $105 a month they were contributing before. $145 a month they saved on their life insurance. That's $250 a month. And with that, at 9% rate of return, if they achieve that, and many of our accounts have achieved much more, there is no guarantee for any investments, as you well know, and past performance is not indicative of future performance. But at 9% rate of return, which is pretty darn conservative, that's $750,000. Now, which of those accounts would you rather have? And if you have trouble choosing, we'll just tell people pick the big one. Now, suppose that you were working with us and you were the manager who went in and you helped John and Mary. If you showed these two plans, the one they had and the one they could have, if you showed those to, say, 10 families, how many of those 10 families do you think would switch from A to B? And the answer is all of them, if they understood the education. And that's why we teach people how money works. Now, we've shown you what Primerica does. Let's show you who Primerica is. Primerica is a highly credible company. It operates in a highly regulated industry. We're regulated by the SEC, we're regulated by FINRA, we're regulated by the Department of Corporations. Pretty much everybody except the Girl Scouts, regulates Primerica. But we've been in business for over 40 years as of the recording of this video, since 1977. This is not a little Mickey Mouse deal. You have to get licenses, state licenses, federal licenses. We're going to talk to you about that in just a few moments. You do have to have legal work status in the United States to come to work with us, and you do have to have a clean criminal record. The reason is because you're handling people's money, and the SEC and FINRA demand that. We are publicly traded. We're on the New York Stock Exchange. You can check it out. Our ticker symbol is PRI. You probably have heard of Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine has called us one of the top 50 most trustworthy financial services companies in America. That's pretty distinguished. Also, Forbes magazine has rated us in the top 10 best companies for offering great job security. You know why that is? I work for myself. I have no desire to fire myself. And so, perfect job security. Finally, if you want to know who owns Primerica stock, you know, we have enemies. Because of the things that you have seen, we have companies in the financial services industry in America who do not like Primerica. And so they'll post things on the internet and stuff. We don't care about that because some pretty reputable companies have invested in us. You might see over $400 million that Vanguard, the mutual fund company, has invested in us. And many of our competitors have invested tens to hundreds of millions of dollars in Primerica. Why? Because it's a solid company. We're not a little multi-level company. We're not a little fly-by-night thing. Primerica is structured in a very distinguished way. We are a modified general agency, which means we have brokers, we have managers, and we have agents. I'm one of the brokers here, a regional vice president. I would recommend that if you decide that you want to get involved, then I would recommend that you shoot for one of these positions, because there you can make some really serious part-time money. I got to the point where as a manager, I was making twice as much part-time here as I was making full-time as a college math professor, and I decided, okay, it's time for me to make a change. And I went full-time. Not long after that, got promoted to regional vice president. That may or may not be for you. You might want to stay part-time for the rest of your life. We don't press anybody to go one way or another, but we allow anybody to achieve any of these positions, and we don't hold a little carrot out in front of your nose and say, boy, just keep working, keep being faithful, we're going to make you a manager someday. You get to decide when you become a manager. You get to decide, because here are the criteria. You meet those criteria, you're a manager. We never take it away from you. As long as you keep your licenses current, there are no quotas here. You're allowed to control your own destiny. What does it take to get involved? Well, I told you that there are several licenses. And one of those licenses is an insurance license. In order to get that license, a person pays a $99 one-time fee. And what do they get for that? The license is free. The exam is free. The only thing they're paying for is their background check. And they get from us the 32-hour class that the state of California requires in order to get a license before they can even take the exam. And so we help you get through that entire process. Now, I mentioned before that we have the financial needs analysis, that financial planning device that I told you about. That financial needs analysis is contained on a system called Primerica Online. And that costs $25 a month. It allows you to run the F&A. It allows you to keep track of your business. It allows you to stay in contact with your clients. And it allows you to set goals and to see how well you've done in meeting them. It's an incredible business planning device. That's $25 a month. Part of that is a subscription to Morningstar once you get securities licensed, which costs thousands of dollars a year, but not for Primerica people. $25 a month, and you get access to Primerica Online. Now, you get your own website for that. You get your own business reports. You get online and on-demand training. You get study portals for your investment licenses. People can get their Series 6, 63, 26, 65. You can get so many series it just drives you nuts. Well, that's entirely up to you. You need a couple of those to be able to talk to people about their investments. So how much do you pay for those licenses? Nada. That's free. And so we've made it possible where people can not only control their own destiny, but they can do it without risk. You can keep your full-time job that you have now, and you can start to work with us part-time at your own schedule, your own timing. And then you get to make a decision if you ever want to change that and you ever want to go full-time, fine. But you get to decide. However, we're looking for a special kind of person. I told you that story about Don. We're looking for people of high integrity. We're looking for people who care about other people. And these people, when they see a wrong, they don't say, oh, that's just too bad. They say, how can I correct that? How can I fix it? Folks, you can fix it here. But if you want to know your future, that's not as hard as you might think either. You want a picture of the next 5 years of your life? Take a picture of the last 5 years of your life and don't change anything. And now you see the next 5 years of your life. Folks, if that's okay with you, if you're satisfied with that, then thank you very much for watching this video. This company is not for you. But if the last 5 years of your life were just not quite satisfying enough, you didn't make quite the money that you wanted to make, you didn't get quite the fulfillment that you wanted to have, then folks, you can change that. You can change your life in 90 days. And in those 90 days, I'll guarantee you 3 things. I'll guarantee you that after 90 days, you get a license, you get trained, you give us a commitment, and then you start taking people out and training them. In 90 days, you'll know 3 things. Number 1, can I do this? Number 2, do I like doing this? And number 3, can I make money doing this? And suppose after that 90 days you decide, you know, it's not for me. And maybe you never got anything done. You never made any money because we don't guarantee, you know, it's up to a person's own efforts. But suppose that you find out after 90 days it's not for you. What have you gotten? The best financial education you could have gotten anywhere for $99. So there's no risk to you. I want you to stick your toe in the water. I want you to be willing to take a risk. I want you to be willing to put yourself out of your comfort zone long enough to see if you can change your family tree for generations. If that sounds like something you could sink your teeth into, then please give a call to the person who invited you to watch this video. And I want to thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.